Hello, and thank you for joining us. My name is Biro,
And I'm Nikki.
and we're here today live to unveil what we think is the next evolutionary step for planning work in Jira. So, 2020 was one insane year. I guess we can all agree to that. We got hit with a pandemic, so businesses had to either temporarily shut down or adapt. Working from home has become now the new norm, and we all watched it unfold. Events started to get cancelled, including our beloved Atlassian Summit. So we had to make do and rethink everything. Not just how we sell, how we market, but also what we build and how we build. Not just us at Jexo, but the entire community and ecosystem. Then, not long ago, the news leaked. Atlassian will discontinue server products. And at first, there was panic in the community, but acceptance is now settling in, and everyone is rethinking everything again. So, our year at Jigsaw has been eventful as well. But given we're at an early stage in our journey, we've had many positive milestones as well. If you can believe it, 1 year ago, both Nikki and I were full time employees. Then in February, we left our jobs to focus on Jigsaw full time. We started our partnership with Resolution, and then not long after, we enrolled in the cloud security programs as early access. Our first app got promoted as best project management app by Atlassian. We won a few Forge Top 100 prizes for our Codegeist hackathon submissions. Then in summer, we became Silver Marketplace partners. We launched our fastest growing app, Foxley, with over 200 teams and companies using it in less than 6 months. We also hired an amazing team, and we developed Project Black Swan. So 2020 was one of hard work, passion, and enlightenment for us. And as the whole world stood still at times, as the events unfolded, we did too. And we contemplated over our voice, our image, and our momentum and what it all means. Atlassian is taking big steps in redefining what teamwork is, but also where it takes place and how. At Jigsaw, we've been genuine supporters from the beginning of this movement. And over the last period, we've consolidated our app offering and messaging to reflect what we're here to do. We have significant experience in helping others deliver work better, faster, and cheaper through software tools. We're eager to enhance Atlassian cloud products, and our passion lies in our desire or stubbornness to make work management into an exquisite art form in Jira. We think the future of managing work in Jira should amount to lovely experiences, and that future starts today. So, let us introduce you to Project Black Swan.
Project Black Swan is the codename for the next major iteration of our flagship product, Swanly. Swanly is a Jira Cloud plugin initially developed to help product teams visually plan their releases, increase visibility, and reduce silos with a great focus on cross-project coordination of the release activities. But it didn't take too long, and non-technical teams became interested in the tool as well. Although Swanly was at the time a release management timeline, it started being used by marketing and business teams. That was around the time we decided to introduce Issue Roadmap, which is the roadmap timeline where you can plan and track any type of Jira issue from epics, stories, tasks, and others. and Swanly evolved from a release management tool to the project management tool. Project Black Swan is a direct result of tons of customer feedback collected over the past 2 years, with a great focus on improving performance, introducing zoom levels, and improving the visual representation of data. Project Black Swan is transforming Swanly into a comprehensive project hub for planning and tracking your work in Jira.
Yeah, and as Nikki mentioned, Swanly started over 2 years ago as a specific proposition, and it was built back then for that purpose. Over this year over this period of time, the need has evolved. So the technology stack and the code that powers Swanly today has reached its limitations. Swanly version 3 is a complete rebuild for performance and extendability, with an technology stack made to accommodate what's yet to come, but also to enable for a seamless and delightful experience. And Nikki is ready to introduce you to some of this stuff that I keep on bragging about. So, Nikki?
Thanks, Dura. Now let's have a look on what Swanly is and what features it brings to us. Swanly is a go-to hub for planning, tracking, and managing work in Jira. It centralizes access to information across Jira projects. It's designed in such a way as to bring clarity, structure, and visibility over your work in Jira. Swanly's roadmap helps centralize and visualize work activities in Jira, such as releases or issues across many Jira projects. New zoom levels allow you to quickly change between daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, or even yearly view. This brings great flexibility to your Jira planning, whether you plan your work on a week-to-week basis or you need to do a high-level quarterly or yearly planning. To help you get the view you need, you can use filters or group work activities by projects, templates, or statuses. The list view in Jira shows all work activities in a simple table view, combining key information into one page. Table filters and column sorting are of course available, so you can find any information you are looking for faster. But high-level information and roadmap visualization are often not enough to manage your projects, which is why Swanly brings you a work report for every key activity on your roadmap. Here you can find detailed information about the scope, stages the work activity is going through, and useful progress insights based on the scope statuses, aggregated Jira time tracking, story points, and even activity burndown chart. The information in the panel is editable, and you can also quickly add additional scope when needed. Lengthy work activities, but also the short ones, can often be broken down into the smaller stages or phases that we can schedule and track on the roadmap. To improve efficiency and standardize the project management processes, Swanly introduces customizable templates. You can create your own set of templates, with each having their own stages, and when you are planning the next activity, choosing the right template will automatically assign the right stages.
So obviously, Swanly is getting some much-deserved feature upgrades. But how can Swanly help your teams, you might ask? Well, lucky for you, Nikki has prepared a demonstration on how to use Swanly for marketing campaigns, product development, as well as implementation projects for your own customers.
In this short demo, I'll be showcasing how teams can plan and track marketing campaigns using Swanly. The roadmap view offers visibility across all digital campaigns and the ability to track their progress in a single report panel that slides from the side. Here, campaigns are represented as releases, and the colors represent different types of campaigns. For example, big campaigns are seasonal, blue represent growth hacking, while purple showcase new feature launches and so on. Each campaign type features predefined stages that it goes through. For example, we broke down this growth hacking campaign into 4 stages: implementation, launch, live, and evaluation. Stages are then drawn on the timeline, and we can track their progress. If you are wondering how to create these templates as phases, you can easily do so in configuration. Here you can see the list of all campaign templates and their stages. I can create new templates here or edit the existing ones. You can also notice that you can define the default duration of each phase. This will be used to pre-populate stage dates when scheduling a release. In this case, the release represents the campaign on the timeline. It's very useful because it makes scheduling campaigns much faster. We can also change the grouping on the timeline. For example, instead of projects, we can group by campaign type. Now you can see that grouping on the timeline has changed. Swimlines are representing different campaign types like SEO, new feature launch, and so on. And the colors of the campaigns reflect the projects. When managing campaigns, it's great to have an overview of when campaigns are scheduled to go live and what the preparation phase is before starting the campaign. And that's exactly what we can see here on the timeline. The highlighted areas of the campaigns are showing when the campaign is planned to go live, and the lighter areas are representing placeholders for preparation activities and closure and evaluation of the campaign. The report panel is accessible by clicking on the campaign in the timeline. This report is placed to go in order to see how much time was spent on the campaign or task, the progress, stages, and so on. When I expand the report view, I'm able to see more detailed information with respect to the campaign's progress. Here we have a high-level information regarding status categories of the campaign scope. I can see how many tickets are done and how many are in progress. If I want to see what the actual statuses of the scope tickets are, I can do so from here. Notice that this campaign is being worked on by 3 teams: marketing, design, and development. Each of these teams is using separate Jira project to manage their day-to-day work. If I'm interested in checking what the progress per project is, I can see it from here. All tasks that need to be completed in order to deliver the campaign are linked here in the scope section. Key information about the tasks are visible, things like summary, assignee, priority, and status. But sometimes we need to drill down into the actual task to be able to see more information, and we can do so by simply clicking on the task itself. The report view is very useful and contains at-a-glance information about the campaign's progress. I'm able to share the report with my colleague before our weekly update meeting. The list view shows us all campaigns in the compact place. Here we can easily get a list of all campaigns and filter through them to get the right view. I can quickly get a list of all growth hacking campaigns our teams are working on, or a list of all campaigns that we finished. And we can always quickly access the campaign report. When it comes to efficiency, the loading time is almost immediate, which is great, and there is no need to switch between screens, dashboards, or JQL. All information we need is in one place in Swanly. Swanly makes planning, tracking, and acting upon campaigns and marketing tasks as easy as it gets. But Swanly, of course, isn't built only to manage marketing campaigns. Let's have a look on how to create a simple product roadmap for development. As challenging as it might be to create cross-project issue roadmap in Jira itself, Swanly makes it really simple. We ourselves manage multiple different products in Jira. Each of the products are managed in a separate Jira project. Swanly allows us to select projects we want to work with and plan stories from these projects in a single roadmap. Each project then has its own swimline. We use templates to visualize whether the stories are improvements to already existing areas in the apps, or if we are introducing completely new features. Each template then has its own stages, such as design, development, testing, and UAT. The stages are the same for both templates, but differ in their duration. Improvements are usually completed in a shorter period of time than new features. Stories tagged as new features are highlighted with a pink color, and stories that are tagged as improvements are red. If we only want to see a new features on the roadmap, we can use filters. And we can go even further by seeing only stories that are currently in making or the ones that we haven't started yet. We use monthly view to get a high-level overview of what's planned and when. Stakeholders and customer success teams especially likes this view. But for the development teams, we prefer a weekly view with all stages expanded. That way, we can get to see exactly in which phase the stories we are working on are and what's coming next. To get a better understanding of the story progress, we use the issue report view. Here we can see at which stage the story is and how much of the work remains. One of the most cherished ways to track progress is the burn-down chart. This chart showcases the story's progress over time based on the subtasks linked to the story. Here we have a list of all subtasks that need to be delivered for this story. Most of the features and improvements we've come up with are based on customer feedback. We store all feedback as issues in a separate Jira project called Product Feedback. Then we link them to the relevant stories that are fulfilling it. That's why you can find links to the customer feedback for this exact story here in Swanly in the linked issues section. And finally, what a cliche, but our development team really enjoys using the roadmap in a dark mode. In the previous demos, I showed you how to use the issue and release roadmaps separately. Now let's have a look at the last use case we prepared for you today, in which we will be using both issue and release roadmaps together to manage multiple projects for a solution partner company. It's a must-have for every solution partner to be able to run and manage multiple projects at the same time. Now, to get a high-level overview of phases for each project in one roadmap, we use releases. Each release represents a different phase of the project, like preparation, initiation, actual project phases, and closure. Because the projects here are usually more than a year long, it's best for us to use the quarterly zoom level. We have various checkpoints or phases that we track to ensure we are on schedule for each type of project, and we use templates to do so. Our latest project is about implementing support system for a big bank, which includes implementing content and documentation management systems with best practices, processes, and training for the whole organization. Last year, they finished the implementation phase, which is a phase 1.5, and transferred to one of their last phases, phase 2, where the whole training and system deployment are planned. Here we can see how much time is planned for the delivery of this phase, how much time has already been spent on it, and if any time was spent beyond the original estimate. In the list view, we can easily see a list of all project phases, then use filters and sorting to get the view we need. For example, if we want to quickly check if there is a phase in trouble, we can filter by status failed and access the report view. In this case, we used a release description to give a detailed status update on why the project phase failed and what are the next steps. I can quickly copy a link of this report and send it to my colleagues or stakeholders and act on it. To view the low-level plan, all we need to do is to switch to Issue Roadmap Timeline, which will show us all epics scheduled with its activities that we can now track on the epic level. So here we've got more granular. Our epics are Discovery and Design, Best Practices Library, and so on, and each has tasks under it. Each of these epics have a different templates, of course different than the ones we used in the release roadmap. When we open the epic on the timeline, we can get a closer look at the planned phases, and when we need to see the epic's progress, we use a report view. Here we can track and view the epic scope progress, the time spent on the activity, and the epic burn-down chart. Swanly makes planning and tracking projects simple and efficient in both high and low levels, and gives us the option to standardize our processes all together with templates, so we don't waste time when we are planning for future projects. Moreover, Swanly configuration is really simple, which makes setting up super easy and quick.
We're planning to transition Swanly to the new version in the next few weeks. Past this initial release, we will be working to bring you a bunch of features like drag and drop for planning functionality, making you more efficient at planning by dragging and dropping on the canvas. Dependency mapping, so that everyone in your team understands constraints and relations. As well as milestones, because most of the time you have checkpoints beyond the stage cadence. Enhance reporting, going beyond the deliverable level and providing project level health intel. We're also bringing templates to the project level, enabling teams to reuse plans for projects they need to run periodically. And of course, project roadmap and planning for planning your portfolio or program where the discussions are higher level. So we're excited to launch Swanly V3, the app for project planning in Jira, and what we think and see as a significant contribution to the growth of the cloud ecosystem. So we want to hear from you. If you're interested to try out the beta version of Swanly before it launches, have questions or feedback, please do access the link on the screen and submit the form there, and we'll get in touch with you shortly. So thank you for joining us and have a great day. I will stay a bit on the chat and answer a few questions. I see that there are a few questions on the chat. So yeah, other than that, have a great day and see you around.